All right, so here's the Tenhulzen Automotive Alignment Kit. Here's like a little toe plate degree to inches conversion chart that we're going to be using a little later. Comes with Velcro. You can Velcro it on there. I just threw some tape on it because I don't think I'm ever going to remove it. Comes with a little precise level that's kind of magnetized up in there. And it comes with some little plastic feet. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just kind of screw them on there. And you'll see what we do with them later, so you can figure out what slots to put them in. These are also on the reverse side, along with some other standoffs we'll use later. So, first thing first, look at your car. I've already done this. I went around the entire car and I set my height for everything. So my rear tires from the ground up is 23 1/4. If you want to be curious about gap, I can just get one finger just in there. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go toe, camber, then caster. So the rear, you can only do toe then camber. So we're going to measure the toe on each wheel for the rear, and then we're going to do camber on each wheel. All right, so here's one of the plates. We're going to put it up against your wheel. Remember these pins I showed earlier with the slots? Basically position them so you can just bump the plastic little adjuster on your rim itself. So once you're making good contact on both rims, or on both sides of the rim, you're going to leave the plate there. And there's these slots down here. What's going to go through there is the tape measure. So we're going to do that with the other plate. Same exact concept. With those posts, throw it on the other plate, on the other wheel. And we're going to route the tape measure through the side like this. And we're going to pull, but this plate will be reversed. All right, so I just placed the Tenhulzen Automotive on the driver's side of the car. If you look, the peg is nice and sturdy there. It's touching the actual rim itself. It's nice and sturdy. The ground plate is nice and snug. Just clipping it here with the edges of the tape measure. Now the passenger side, same exact concept as I just did over there. Snug. I'm just going to pull gently on the tape measure. We're going to go with, from the half, we're going to go 3 cricket marks in. That's where I'm going to take my reading as. And on this side, damn near the same thing, if you can see that. So, that wheel I'm going to call 0 toe. I'm not going to mess with the camber yet. Basically, do the exact same thing. I'm just going to flip the tape measures around to measure the opposing wheel here, the passenger side. And let's see what that reading is. All right, so now we're doing the driver's side tire, or the passenger side tire, excuse me. Do the same thing, pull the tape. We're gonna go with right on 1/4. The side tape. It looks like 2 cricket marks before 38, which if you look at the tape, are 38 3/8. So it looks like that's, we'll just go with 2 cricket marks off. So the adjustment's very close. I'm going to adjust that wheel and we're going to get it as close to 0 as I can. All right, so if you can see, that's the bolt you need to release. And if you can tell, there is some, it's a slotted bolt here. So you can move this arm back and forth, which is going to adjust your rear toe. So for my case, we had a little bit of toe in it, just a tad. So I'm going to loosen this bolt. I'm going to just push it out just a little bit. All right, so I just made that adjustment that I just showed you a total of 3 times. It's hard for you to adjust it, for me at least, while the car's on the ground. So I just jacked the wheels just off the ground enough, loosen that bolt, kind of pry very gently, very small increments with a pry bar, tighten it back up, blow away the car, reset the plates and measure. It's not difficult, it's just time consuming. So here's our outcome now. We're right on, let's say just on 69. The other side. Just on 69, if not maybe a 32nd. For what I'm using, I'm going to call that good. for the rear. So we're zeroed out as far as I'm concerned on the rear. Now let's check camber. All right, so from this point now, you're gonna grab the one that I tape my stuff to, or Velcro just in case. Take the digital readout. Again, it's magnetic, so it'll kind of hold itself there. Flip it around. I want the readout to look like so. So now we're gonna do camber. So if you notice, I already put my two arms on. I snugged them up. And what I already spaced mine out for is to basically fit on the rim itself again, like so. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it on the ground, and it already is an auto level it says, but there's an on button. You're gonna turn it on. Mine actually does say 90. So I'm gonna zero it out. Now it says 0. I'm gonna take this, hold it up to it. Again, make contact with the rim. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. It says 88.7. So from there you would take your degrees. So 90 would be just straight up and down with 0 camber, or it would, it would read 90 in this case. So 88.7, so I would subtract 90 from 88.7, which gives me 1.2. So I've got 1.2 degrees of camber on this wheel, which is fine. I was actually gonna aim for 1 to 1.5 for starters. And again, after I start driving, we'll figure it out. So now I'm just gonna measure the driver's side wheel and try to get that as close to this wheel, and we'll go from there. All right, so my driver's side wheel was 1.3. They're close enough. I'm gonna leave them the way it is. So on mine, I've got Skunk 2 adjustable camber arms in the rear. So if you have those installed, you should be able to see how to adjust them. It's just 2 locking nuts. I think I showed it in a previous video, and you just kind of turn the center, either pushing the wheel out or in, depending how you want it, or pushing or pulling the wheel. So now I'm gonna do the front. I'm not gonna show you the toe or the camber because I've already done it for both of them. I guess I will maybe show you the camber depending on, it's gonna be the same concept. I've got Skunk 2 camber kits in the front there too. You're gonna do the same. You're just gonna adjust it to get the camber your desired level, but I will show you guys how to do caster. Figured I would show you this now. So this one's basically 68 3/4. This one's basically 68 1/2. So if you can imagine that, 3/4 is out here, half's in there. So the tire is technically going inwards. We need to bring the tire out. So in this case, you're gonna take your tie rod end and basically loosen it to move the wheel out. So when adjusting the toe, what you wanna do is you would release this nut here, then you can screw, there's a, right back here, you can actually grab that with a wrench and you would turn in or out depending on the adjustment with your wheel, how you want to push it out or in. It's pretty self-explanatory. This rod is going to spin and it's gonna go in or out. When you're doing this, make sure your steering wheel is straight, and periodically do check it. It would be advisable just to lock it just so you don't move it, but I haven't had any problems with mine. We'll find out in the first test drive. Once you've adjusted this and you've got yours to 0 or whatever your desired setting is, tighten that nut back up. All right, so the passenger side camber is already at 2.1 degrees. I'm just gonna leave it there. The driver's side, I don't know how I pulled this off. Oh, never mind, not as close as I thought. So 89.15. So we're gonna have to adjust that one to compensate there. We're almost a degree, so I'll show you how we do that. So you could take your wheel off, you could take the fender off. Keep both mine on for the time being. There's on my Skunk 2 control arms, there's 4 Allens. There's 2 on this side, 2 on that side. Basically, you're just going to loosen them. And once they're all loosened, you should be able to either pull in or pull out depending on what you need to do. Once they're loose, you want to leave them, I say loose, don't take them all the way out, just make them kind of loose to the point where you can basically push the ball joint. What you're going to do is turn the wheel all the way right, then you're going to do all the way left. So right now I turn my wheel all the way right. So right now my wheel is turned all the way right. You take the gauge as if I was measuring the camber, which is essentially what I am doing. You're gonna put it on there and you're gonna zero it out. All right, so now my wheel is turned hard left. Taking my zeroed gauge, putting it on there again. And we're gonna see if we can get a little rating there. 7.5. So my caster is positive 7.5 degrees, which is extreme. I'm only aiming for 3, so I'm going to show you how we loosen that. And mine's probably so extreme, so I just kind of threw the bar on there and just pulled the wheel in there. All right, so here's my innovative traction bar. I've got a nut here. Loosen that. I'm just gonna loosen the other side too, just because. So this nut's loose, and basically what I need to do, since I'm so far positive, I need to let this arm, the radius rod, go out. So you're gonna loosen this big nut here. All right, so the tire's turned all the way to the left. Actually, just re-looked at the specs. I'm gonna be going for a 4 degrees caster. And I'll put that on there. And I've got 4.2 degrees. So I'm gonna leave that alone, and we're gonna do the driver's side and try to get as close to that as we can. All right, so after you've set your caster, this might suck, but you're gonna have to go back, and I would double check everything on the front end again. I say that because you just kind of pulled the wheel forward and it does mess with things. But everything I did read told me to do in the sequence of toe, camber, and caster. So my rear camber in the rear is basically at 1.2 and 1.3 degrees. Rear toe is at 0. Front toe, I had to make adjustments again, but it's at 0. The caster's at 4.1 and 4.2. Driver's side camber's at 2.1 and passenger camber's at 2.2. I'm gonna leave it at that, and once she's driving, I'm gonna take it for a whirl and we'll see how this alignment works out. All right, new starter installed, fingers crossed. Fired right up. All right, brakes seem to work. Air diffuser was much better. It's the TPS issue. Oil pressure is good. All right, I'm taking out on this maiden voyage on the road here. I'm trying to bring up the speed a little bit, let it compression brake some more. Not gonna lie, super nervous right now. Stoked I am right now. I'm like a little kid. This is great. I need to get the bumper done and shit. And get a good day. Driving to work. That is, of course, I got to bring it back, do a shakedown. I'm going to change the oil. I'm trying to put 20 miles on it. We're about at 4. ECTs are 206. I got the fan kicking on at 195. Fuel gauge does not work. I don't know why. Oil pressure idling here now that we're real warmed up. I don't know what that is. It's right at like 25, a little bit below 25 PSI. Idling at 14.1, 14.0. I'm running just a stock GSR map, letting the wideband voltage come in and try to correct it. So cruising here at 7% throttle, 14 flat. I really like my gas gauge to work. I know I've said that already. I don't know if you're able to hear any of this, but if you can, hellfire, dude. I am genuinely so excited. So happy with the way the car looks right now. Super stoked that it drives. So the new starter came in. That actually was not, that did not solve the issue. Long story short, what the issue was, for starting wise, was the grounds. I thought my grounds were good. I ended up taking all the grounds off of the engine bay that I made. Took a little Dremel, sanded the paint off, and dummy mistake, but it is what it is. That's what resulted in helping it start. Number two, the lean condition might have been the jumper harness, me jumping the ignition timing, but I don't think that's ultimately what it was. It was a TPS calibration. The Honda I had it cal it, and it was like -5 for the minimum reading of the throttle and 60 or 62 for the max, which Honda's manual said it needs to be over 60, but that wasn't it just didn't work out. So I ended up doing a original style, like with a voltmeter, and setting it to that. And then when I went to recount Honda, I think my minimum reading then was like 5 or something, and my max was like 102. And the car drove right off the bat because of that. I'm gonna guess the car feels really healthy with how I degreed it and everything. It only has like 32 miles on it right now, but I mean, I got onto it in first and second. I didn't let first rip to second, just kind of let it get there and then went to second. But I mean, anything above like 52, 5,500, I mean, she pulls. I am so friggin' happy. It is great right now. I hope it continues to do this. I hope it continues to drive well. The oil pressure gauge, I don't know, man. When I got on it, the oil pressure gauge went to 0, scared the living shit out of me. Got her home, didn't have any issues, wasn't very far. I disconnected it, put it back together. I don't know. Make sure wires were good, make sure grounds were good. And I just went for another cruise right now, a little bit, another 5-mile drive, and the oil pressure gauge started working midway through it. And it's not like it's reading 0 PSI. It's like it's going below 0, as if the gauge is just not getting any input at all. The manual does say to not have it on anything that vibrates a lot. I don't think the car, I mean, don't get me wrong, it vibrates, but it's not anything that's crazy. I've got the Skunk 2 suspension on 6 out of 12. That's where it seems to be riding pretty good. I'll admit, as low as it is, I definitely, obviously going uphill and downhill, I need to pretty much just roll over, roll gently. I'm gonna try to drive it to work one of these days next week, and we got a pretty good decline coming in through. I'm gonna go extremely slow and see how that works out. Fingers are crossed that I don't rip the bumper off or anything like that, because the CS style lip, probably can't see it too much in the light here, but I am super happy with how it looks. It's nice and low. I do have DLA fogs that I ordered to go in there. They're yellow. I think that'll really make the look a bit better there. I do need to tweak the hood a little bit. The passenger side, everything mounts up pretty well, but the driver's side has a little bit of a gap between the headlight and the closing. Might be the valve cover, it might not be. I don't know. I need to just do some experimentation on that. CRX logo for the back is on order. I ordered some CRX floor mats, not OEM, but they're cut to fit like OEM, and then they've got CRX in the font of the CRX going vertical. I've seen some on eBay that are horizontal. These ones are a little bit more pricey, but they're like 80 bucks shipped. I think it'll be nice to throw in there. So what's to come? I need to still boost the car, but I'm gonna still do some driving. I did 10 miles on it originally, hit 10 miles, drove back home, drained the oil, changed the filter, put some more driven braking oil 30 back in the car, which is what's in it right now. I'm gonna do a total of about 200-ish, maybe 250. Maybe we just kill a tank of gas, whatever the case is, and we'll call that good. I'll drain the oil, and I will, whatever I'm gonna choose, probably some Mobil 1 or something like that. I'm using Mobil 1's filter right now. And when I drained it the first time, there was no glitter, no nothing. I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect it to be tons of glitter of, you know, metal shavings, but I figured just a little hint of it. I had a small leak, but after the 10 miles, but that has been resolved. It was, you probably can't see, but right in here, right on the edge there. It's from like the valve cover gasket. The 90s where some manuals tell you to put some Honda Bond. I didn't put any, put some in there. It's not leaking there anymore. Car cruises at like 202, 204. The lower radiator hose does not get really hot like I'm used to. So I might, one of these days soon, just pull the thermostat, maybe put another one in or check that one in to see what the deal is. The car doesn't overheat, but yeah, there's that. So in a nutshell, I'm super stoked. I posted some pictures I took today of it. I was just so happy that I drove it outside. I took some quick pictures of it and put it on the CRX community page, and it blew up to like, I don't know what it's at now, but 300 plus some odd likes. It just makes me very happy. Everyone thinks the car is clean, and I'm not downplaying the car. The car is not clean. It is, but trust me, there are its imperfections, especially with me grabbing it from the garage, trailering it to a storage unit about 2 hours, 2.5 hours away on an open trailer and back. There are its little imperfections, but ultimately I am very happy. The car is clean. I'm definitely agreeing that it is clean. So all that being said, I've got some things to tweak. The interior, probably can't see. Some people are asking. I know it's dark, but I mean, it's just simple. I have all the interior in there, minus the glove box right now. I need to figure out how I'm going to mount the wiring 100%. Probably going to make or order 2 plates to go right here, just to block those off. Everything's pretty much just armor rolled. That shifter with the hot sport linkage is, I mean, it feels great. Super great. Love every bit of that. It just smooth shifts. In case you're new too, I've got an M Factory LSD and Synchrotech carbon synchros. It gets into gear great. And when I hit it a couple of times. I mean, when it gets about to 5,200, I mean, it's been a long time for me, but I mean, she moves. She gets up and moves. So next project that I'm gonna have to do is just kind of tidying up little things, like little loose ends that I don't have. I need to rip this tint off. Maybe go take it and get these windows tinted. I don't know if I'm gonna leave these clear or if I should get this just tinted like a real heavy, like just dark tint. Same thing with the back. And then I'm gonna build a wing. Like a little duck bill. It's gonna come off the windshield a little bit. I already looked at it. Home Depot, Lowe's, they both sell styrofoam. I'm gonna grab that, glue them together, shape it to what I want, and then fiberglass. Basically make it as a mold. So other than that, I appreciate everyone that's been watching. I saw the subscriber count went up again. If anybody has any intel on things that I'm missing on my car that maybe I'm just unaware of or forgot about, or an idea that whatever, I am open to about anything. But I am really digging the look of how it is, even how low it is. I really don't want to raise the car if I don't have to. The last thing, and I'll cut this. The automotive, the plates that I bought, the car it's only got like 32 miles on it. Let me get a good solid like 100 or something, but the alignment is, it's spot on. I mean, car drives straight, turns well. For what I've done so far, I haven't really done, again, there's like 32 miles in the car. Let me get a little more, but as of right now, I'm pretty happy with it. After I probably have 50 miles or something like that, maybe 2 or 3 days to work, I'm gonna recheck everything to see how well it stayed. And I wrote everything down in a notepad just to see what, for all like specs like that for the build. But all right, so I really appreciate everybody for watching. So again, I can't thank everybody enough that is watching, and I can't thank everybody that's on the CRX community page that like the post, made me feel really good about the build. Not that I didn't already. I love this car as of right now, but it just really made me feel even better for everything that I've done for it. So again, everyone, thanks again for watching, and have a good weekend.